CNN deletes a post that they made on X, and it is absolutely breaking the internet because it's demonstrative of how deceptive the mainstream woke media press is. Also, hospice fraud found in California, and another huge company leaving the state of California. This is my home state, and you won't believe the final story of today. You're not going to believe what we found out about Gavin Newsom's wife. Holy macadamian nut. But first, check this out. So CNN deleted a social media post today after outraged critics and the entire internet just totally called them on it. Look at this post right here of them describing the two young homegrown terrorists in New York City after they tried to throw sort of a makeshift IED into the crowd of protesters. So CNN described this. They deleted this, but we have the receipts. CNN said two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. This is real, by the way, folks. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home. Here's what we know so far. I mean, let's just take a pause here for a second. You can't, I mean, this is absolutely insane. Even the Babylon Bee, which is one of the best satirical accounts on the planet, on the internet, who said about the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, CNN reports on Japanese teenagers who came to Hawaii for what could have been a beautiful day at the beach. I mean, this is absolutely insane. And then Seth Dillon, who is the founder of the Babylon Bee, said this: the Bee and CNN are very similar. We both publish funny fake news. The difference is one of us is joking. Apparently, the full article remained available on CNN's site, referring to these two terrorists as two Pennsylvania men, not teenagers, and omitting the flowery language on the weather and what could have been a normal day. An editor's note from CNN said a previous version included a summary that was removed for the same breach. So they were blasted online by everybody. One user wrote, "What sort of a country do we live in where two Pennsylvania teenagers aren't allowed to enjoy a lovely spring day throwing bombs at people?" Another joke, two guys on a day out in Manhattan plan: 1, a walk through sunny Central Park; 2, brunch at a stylish cafe; 3, a little routine terrorism; 4, haircut, maybe a manicure. They framed two people who built homemade bombs as sympathetic figures, another one wrote, whose lives were, quote, drastically changed. Quote, that's not a lapse in editorial standards. That's the editorial standard working exactly as intended. Another social media user said, how did this tweet even make it out? Saying, quote, someone signed off on both the headline and the social media post, and that person is drawing a paycheck from you. The people who you hire are a direct reflection of your standards, and they seem pretty low. Here's the main question. If they hadn't have been caught on that, if they hadn't have been lambasted by independent media, by X users, by the free speech town hall digital center of the internet, would they have deleted that? You see, CNN and MSNBC and all, they do this every single day with zero fact checkers. They do this every single day, poison the minds of their viewers. I would go as far to say that they are the reason that half the country has terminal case of TDS. And I think half the country should sue them for misinformation and propaganda. These are not media. These are propagandists. And this is a poison. This is true toxicity spreading across our country. I know you see it in your town, in your city, in your state, probably more often than you'd like, maybe even in your own family. I know I've got them. I want to share this post by Matt Van Swall, who is a lifelong Democrat who has recently abandoned the party. He was also invited to the White House State of the Union. He posted, I trusted you to tell me the truth for nearly a decade. I trusted you. I am still paying the price for that. You are an evil piece of propaganda garbage that wrecked my worldview for years. Ladies and gentlemen, go get your kids. Have them take a look at this post, at this video. This is what an awakening looks like. There are millions of Americans across our country who have gone through the same garbage receptacle of a constant feed of propaganda that Matt has experienced. So maybe have a little bit of empathy, and instead of arguing with your family, your neighbor, your friend, instead of getting heated with them, try to educate them. That is literally what my channel is all about. And let's continue. So check this out. This is another mainstream media outlet, CBS News, who was shocked to find out that in Los Angeles, California, this is ground zero for hospice fraud. And stay tuned, I've got more from the governor, Newsom. It's going to blow your socks off, especially when we find out about his wife. So a CBS News investigation reveals rampant hospice fraud in Los Angeles despite state efforts to curb the issue. The investigation found over 700 hospices. 700, not 7, not 10, not 70, not 100, 700 hospices exhibiting signs of fraud, including geographic clustering, low patient counts, and excessive billing. The state has revoked licenses for 280, but the problem persists with some companies operating under the radar or engaging in fraudulent practices. This is the Medicare fraud that I've been warning you about. This is what's happening rampantly. This is why I say Minnesota is child's play when it comes to Newsom's California. The fraud is galactic, which is why I have partnered with the greatest organization on the planet to help you or anybody you know gain clarity. It's free, 100% free on all of your Medicare problems, issues, and coverage. I love Chapter. Call this number. They have helped scores. They're independent. They're not salesmen. They're completely unbiased. They have helped scores of our viewers and listeners. Check out this new testimonial from one of our longtime viewers saying, I called Chapter yesterday and found exactly what coverage we needed with the doctors, chiropractor, eye doctors, pharmacy, and preferred hospital in-network, plus a bonus of $20 back for my husband and I each month. Thanks so much. Another viewer said, I called Chapter and they are terrific. Seriously, very helpful, especially if you were just transitioning to Medicare at age 65 like I was. They got me on a much better plan with much, much lower drug copays. I'm just thrilled. World-class service. And then Daniel sent this to me. Chapter saved me $1,800, almost $2,000. $1,840 this year. So what are you waiting for? So give Chapter a call and start saving right now. I will leave links in the description, show notes, and in the pinned comment. You can also go to askchapter.org/Nez or just call this number right now, 656-218-0931, and start saving today. And tell them Professor Nez says hello. Lynn Iani, who's 69, who is a pickleball whiz. I love tennis and pickleball. She suffered an injury on the court 2 years ago. She sought physical therapy and was surprised to learn her Medicare insurance wouldn't cover it. She was, according to Medicare records, dying and in hospice. She doesn't look dead to me. They said, you're in hospice, she said. And I said, what? What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? Do I look like I'm in hospice? Nope. Her Medicare number had been stolen and used by a company to fraudulently enroll her in hospice. This is happening in Newsom and Karen Bass right under their nose, probably even facilitated by them, especially when I tell you the latest story coming up. This is just another example of fraud in the hospice industry, long nationwide problem. But this is what happened in California, where the problem has been especially acute. You can see the receipts right here. No service approved. Patient is enrolled in hospice right there. It's absolute insane. Can you imagine taking care of yourself, playing active sports, engaging in cardio and fitness, and then learning that? Remember, Medicare is federally administered and hospices must be certified, but the state issues the licenses for hospices to operate. I did a video on this 3 years ago. The state auditor sounded the alarm that Los Angeles County had seen a 1,500% increase in hospice companies since 2010, more than 6 times the national average. Do you think anybody listened? You think Newsom listened? You think Bass listened? Of course not. Auditors estimated LA County overbilled Medicare by $105 million in a single year. Multiple hospices in one building, geographic clustering, low patient counts, high rates of terminally ill patients, later discharged alive, excessive billing, and staff shared across multiple companies. This has been a problem that has just been festering over and over, and 700 of the roughly 1,800 in LA County trigger multiple red flags for fraud as defined by the state. And this guy, greasy haircut that passes for a man, American Psycho, Gavin Newsom. This is mainstream media, by the way, CBS. This guy actually wants to turn the United States of America into California. Are you effing kidding me? But wait, it gets even worse. In-N-Out, Chevron, Valero, all the tech companies, Meta, Tesla, God knows how many companies. Now, after nearly 50 years in Orange County, Yamaha is relocating its headquarters from Cypress, California to Georgia, impacting about 250 workers. The move, part of a structural reform to boost profits, will begin late this year and conclude in 2028. When they say that Newsom is the U-Haul salesman of the century, they're not mincing words, y'all. That's not hyperbole. That's just a straight fact. You want this guy to be your president, Democrat? But wait, it gets even worse. Gavin Newsom from the Post's wife pushed weird gender films into California classrooms. Well, guess what? Paying herself a fortune. Jennifer Seibel Newsom is a filmmaker, just a bored, empty, vacuous, white liberal housewife has documentaries been seen by millions, but didn't really happen because she's talented. She leaned on her powerful hubby as his education board to push preachy flicks about toxic masculinity into classrooms. I mean, this is unbelievable. All the while raking in up to $300,000 annually through her nonprofit, the Representation Project, and her for-profit outfit, Girls Club Entertainment. Isn't that Girls Club Entertainment? Not that I entertain these films or this industry, but that sounds a lot like an adult film company, if you ask me. I'm just saying. Jennifer Newsom said, I turned the lens on boys and men and looked at the boy crisis in America and how we're failing our boys and men with this sort of rigid notion of toxic masculinity. Is that why your husband sits like that? Because you've completely removed his testicles and put them in a jar underneath the sink? Oh, God, this is so despicable. Newsom is featured as a humble bragging talking head in his wife's films. Of course he is, because he loves the attention. He doesn't do any, the guy does literally everything but his job as governor. Even the liberal New York Times called the film disingenuous. What's more, Newsom's own D of E, Department of Education, shilled his wife's documentaries in official state guidelines after the project bragged in a 2014 tax filing that his films and curricula were used in 1,000 California public schools, spreading misinformation, spreading vile dreck propaganda, and raking in the dough. Is that the liberal playbook or what? So Newsom's Board of Education recommended these garbage films like toxic masculinity. We have an effeminate, worthless masculinity issue. We need more real men. We've got men who have safe spaces and feel triggered and all sorts of garbage. And you're making films in the direct opposite direction. No wonder there's so many pussies out there. I'm sorry, I had to say it. The D of E worked with partners, including Seibel, to push, quote, social emotional learning in low-performing California schools. What a crock of garbage. This is a very clear attempt to indoctrinate the next generation of Californians. It's a lot easier to control an uneducated group For the first time in history, this generation is significantly lower educated than our parents and grandparents. Remember, 44% of California 11th graders were not meeting. 44%. They weren't meeting reading standards in 2024. And almost 70% were below par in math. And this guy wants to turn the USA into California. Representation Project, which Sybil Newsom founded in 2011, licenses her gender-obsessed documentary trilogy and other films to K through 12 schools, universities, and corporations, charging anywhere from $49 to $1,500. Her for-profit outfit, Girls Club, produces the films out of Newsom's palatial $9 million estate. Unbelievable. Look at this garbage. I don't even want to look at this. It's so bad. Here's some of the curriculum. You've got such cringy activities such as Privilege Walk, sorting students by race, gender, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. This is a crime against humanity. This is so god-awful. In addition to free screenings, Sybil Newsom, who's the daughter of a multimillionaire Republican who also had an affair with jailed, imprisoned serial predator Harvey Weinstein, said in a 2021 impact report that 5,000 schools across 50 U.S. states had shown her films, reaching 2.8 million students. It's earned more than $3 million in film sales, paying Newsom herself $150,000 salary plus reimbursements worth up to $150,000 annually per IRS filings. These two scum of the earth, they deserve to be behind bars, thrown in the darkest dungeon in a Turkish prison, never to be seen again. This is living proof that propaganda works. That post by Matt Van Swol, lifelong Democrat, saying that I've been brainwashed by you, wakening. It's such a beautiful thing. This is when Kamala Harris gets within an inch, a hairbreadth of the #1 seat of power in our great constitutional republic, these United States of America, we have a serious problem, folks. A serious problem. We won the battle on November 5th, 2024, but the war continues, and you can help. Tap the thumbs up. Make this video go viral. Share it everywhere. Share it in text messages and emails on social media. Share it with your cousin who hates you. Share it with everybody. Just let them see the facts. These are the facts that you're not going to get anywhere else. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. Oh, by the way, free poll. Over 90% of Democrats, before I forget, over 90% of Democrats voted against voter ID. This is an issue that has an 83% approval rating across bipartisan lines, including Republicans and Democrats. 83% of Americans want voter ID to maintain integrity in our election, and over 90% of Democrats voted against it. What does that tell you? Let me know down below. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, especially if you missed this one yesterday. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.